Hello and welcome back to Field Study. It is day 2 of walking round the Isle of Wight on only wild food. Yesterday, having walked 18 miles of the picturesque coastline of the Isle of Wight, having failed to catch a fish, I went to bed hungry. Well, that was certainly an interesting night's sleep. Good morning. Foraging for dinner last night was unsuccessful, so I went to bed with just a few handfuls of wild garlic. I just had to double brush my teeth because I have the world's worst garlic breath. I'd hate to be anyone that has to chat to me today. The zip on my sleeping bag broke as well. So it was just open on one side, so I kept on just slipping out of it. This arm was wet for some reason. But I feel rested, if a little bit hungry, and I'm ready for another day of adventure. This week on Going Round, we forage for restaurant quality seafood.
That is fantastic.
Make some questionable fashion choices.
Oh, no.
And bask in the beautiful British weather. I am soaked. Egret. That's mad. The tide is going out, so before I set off, I'm going to have a little look on this sandbar and see if there's anything that I can eat for breakfast. Come on. Another gorgeous morning. What a place to wake up. This morning, I have a little trick up my sleeve. And it's this. I carried this with me. I was trying to find razor clam holes last night in the dark, but then the tide was coming in and I was a little bit doddery, so I decided to go to bed instead of risk, falling over. So this is table salt, and hopefully it's going to help me catch my breakfast. Fingers crossed. Following the oyster catches out. It's been so nice listening to him this morning. That is what we're after. This is the shell of a razor clam, razorfish. So when you're foraging on the seashore, it's always good to look in the strand line at what sort of shells are about. It gives you an idea of what species you might find. And here it does seem that there is a lot of sort of like cockles and clams. So if I were to sort of rake through the sandbank here, I could probably pull a few out. But when I was walking out there, I got a few wafts of sewage, and that is the outlet of the River Yard. Yeah, all the way along there is sewage treatment works and things, so quite a lot of sewage comes out this way. Even though there doesn't seem to have been any releases recently, I sort of trust my nose. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to leave that. But hopefully there'll be some more further round the point. So let's pack up and get going. This place that I was sleeping is absolutely covered in this beautiful Claytonia. Beautiful miner's lettuce. But unfortunately, it also stinks like a urinal. So not today. Let's get out of here. So with a deepening hunger, I set off to see what the day would bring. That is my new favourite place, Benbridge Chandlery. I'm currently in the middle of renovating a historic wooden boat, which you're definitely going to see on the channel. It's taking a long time, but it is looking absolutely beautiful. And I keep on having to pop over here to get stuff to fix it up. If you are one of my YouTube members, I have a members area that you can pay less than the price of a pint of beer a month. You get live updates and stuff when I'm doing things like this. They've been watching bits and pieces of the boat renovation as it's been happening, but I will be putting together a full video on it. I have this dream that at some point this summer, I'm going to be floating off the coast of my village, fishing with willow lobster pots. The path took me out by beautiful houseboats and bleak grey estuary mud and out onto St Helens Causeway. Walking along the causeway from Benbridge to St Helens. And then we're going to explore St Helens Dover a little bit and then head on our merry way through to Apley and then Ryde. And hopefully today I'm going to be able to make it all the way to East Cowes and get the chain ferry across to West Cowes and try and find somewhere to sleep on the other side of that, which then puts me in good stead for a couple of days exploring the West Wight. One of the main things that I need to do right now is get some breakfast because I'm really quite hungry. So in a bit, I'm going to pick a spot and I'm going to forage for what I can around me and make a mixed greens dish, I reckon. just to have something in the old tank to keep me going. Could we? Should we? This could be really quite useful. So I'm looking for a bottle like this, like a plastic bottle, in order to make a shrimp trap later on. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. I think this one might just be a little bit too manky. Is that a mistake? That could potentially be a mistake, but I'm gonna leave that there. Now, what am I worried about? There'll be another bottle. Keep your eyes peeled, everyone. I need to find another plastic bottle at some point today, hopefully this afternoon, so I don't have to lug it. And that means overnight I should be able to set a shrimp trap wherever it is that I'm sleeping and have something for breakfast in the morning. Waking up hungry is miserable, he said, smiling. It's hard to be miserable in a place like this. Look at these beautiful old beach hut railway carriage things. It says that they're due for replacement / refurbishment in early 2027. I really look forward to seeing it when they're done. If you look behind this one, you can actually see the remains of the old carriage, I think, in here. Look at that. I think we should head down onto the beach. It's so nice having these big low tides. My energy levels are starting to dwindle somewhat. So the hunt is on. There are oysters everywhere, man. Look at these. Can you see that? They are chunky as well. Look at that. This could be the place. Look at the size of that guy. Look at the chunk of that oyster. There's a couple of them stuck together there. But look at the sheer size of the thing. So there's someone over here foraging for something with a bucket. Should we go say hi? So my curiosity got the best of me, and never one to miss out on a chat with a fellow forager. I headed over to say hi. Hiya. What are you collecting? Yeah, I'm a foraging instructor.
Oh, okay. Oh, have you got you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a YouTube channel.
Oh, right.
Yes,
What are you eating today then?
Haven't eaten
Limpets?
anything yet. And what followed was one of the nicest conversations I've had in a while, and one of many that happened that day.
I've done this probably since I was 2.
You
but
get
my
any
mum lives
razor
in
clams
Bembridge,
down
so
here?
yeah, I've tried, because I've even got a thing of salt in my car. It's been there for months. So every so often I go cockling, I do try, and I've yet to catch one.
Really?
Have you caught any? Got any?
Not today, no. I've noticed all the big oysters over here. Have you seen them?
No. Why didn't you pick them up then?
Because again, I'm worried about the pollution. That was really cool. So that lady there has been foraging down here at St Helens since she was a kid. And she was picking winkles, she had some clams, all sorts of good stuff. And I was like, are you worried at all about pollution around here? It's the reason I haven't sort of picked anything this morning, is because of the potential pollution risk.
Well, if I'm not dead in 2 days' time then.
She said that she'd been doing it for 50 odd years and she's never been ill. It's just reassuring. I don't know many other people that forage for stuff on the island,
you know what?
so
I don't, but my family's always done it.
yeah.
That's why I always do it.
Amazing.
Because my mum lives in Bembridge, so I thought I'd go over this morning and take her a treat.
Yeah.
Because we're the only 2 that like winkles. Good luck with it then.
Thank you very
Find
much.
some things to eat for breakfast.
Yeah, I hope you have a good day. So I think here is good. Can't find anything here, I might go back and try and find them oysters. So with newfound confidence, I headed out onto the rock pools. All this sargassum weed going out here that's taken root in the gravel bed. It's really delicious stuff. There's Bembridge Fort out there. And that bit there is the landslip that I got stuck on last time around. Razor clamshell. The seaweed here is so abundant, I'm gonna gather some. So I can see dulse, pepper dulse, and sargassum weed. So I'm gonna grab some of that, put it in a bag and use it later. It will come in handy as a seasoning for everything else that I cook. This one down here in these long thin strands with all of these little balls all over it, this is Sargassum muticum. This is what is otherwise known as Japanese wireweed or wireweed. It is technically an invasive species, and it just so happens it is absolutely delicious. If you want to know more about seaweeds, you can book on one of my coastal foraging courses, or you can watch a video on how to identify this up in the top corner. Up there, or there, wherever it is. As you can see, it sort of floats in the water. So we're gonna grab a bit like that to take with us. So here you can see that we've got some pepper dulse,
But here, with these sort of flatter fronds, we have dulse or dillisk. It has loads of different names, it is eaten in loads of different cultures, and it is one of the most delicious and nutritious seaweeds that we have in the UK. So I'm gonna harvest some of this as well and stick it in my pocket as a snack. Remember to harvest seaweed with scissors so it can regrow.
To harvest seaweed sustainably, please make sure you are only foraging for it in places where it is abundant. Select a few fronds and snip the first third of it off, leaving the rest to regrow. Remember to move from rock to rock, so you're not putting too much pressure on a single patch. Look at that beautiful kelp down there, and there as well. And that's when I decided to bust out my secret weapon and have another go at the razor clams. That's where I've just come from. This bit of land is really low lying, so the tide's coming in really fast and has sort of erased the clam bed. The tide was coming in really fast and I was starting to get a bit desperate, but that's when my luck started to change.
We have worm sign. Amazing. Right, I've got to just grab him. And hold.
I cannot tell you how exciting this was. Razor clams are really sensitive to changes in salinity. So if you pour salt down the end of their burrow, they don't like it and they come to the surface. It's best not to pull them out of the sand. If you hold the top of them, they'll eventually get tired and they'll release. And you'll have one of the most delicious and sought after shellfish in the world.
So that is 2 razor clams already. This one is too small, so I'm going to pop that one back to do its thing. But yes, these are potentially one of the most delicious seafood treats that you can get anywhere in the world. The tide is starting to come in, or the wind is pushing it a little bit, so I need to at least get 2 more of these, hopefully, and then I'll have breakfast. Then we'll go back to the shore, gonna cook it up with some seaweed, and that should set me up for the day. Fun, fun, fun.
I've got 2 razor clams already, Abby. 2.
Oh, that's so good. I bet that'll be yummy.
There was only one way to find out.
Whew, what a morning. So this is Priory Bay, and it is the perfect spot for a little bit of breakfast. So from the breakfast buffet today, we have razor clams with wild greens and magnolia petals. So we're gonna cook it with a little bit of the rock samphire that we foraged for yesterday and some wild garlic to give it a nice wild garlic flavor. Let's do it. So I'm just gonna add in one of the last little drops of water that I have to help all of that steam. Now these aren't the biggest of razor clams. This one shell broke on the way out, so I couldn't really put him back. As I was seeing from some of the shells out there, you can get proper chunky ones, but I was dealing with an incoming tide. It smells amazing.
This was shaping up to be one of the best breakfasts I'd had in ages.
Oh, you get back in there, trying to make it look pretty. So just steam them through lightly, and then as a finishing touch, they're gonna get little pops of this beautiful magnolia flower. This will add a lovely sort of pickled ginger flavor to them. So there we go. That is razor clams with coastal vegetables and magnolia blossom. A breakfast fit for kings. That is fantastic. It's a bit gritty, not gonna lie, but I didn't have a chance to wash everything thoroughly. Right, so that is our kitchen packed up, and it is time to get some miles under our belt. I want to be in Fishbourne by mid-afternoon. We've got a chain ferry to catch. Ah, come on. We are making excellent progress. We are nearly at Apley Tower. It is just over there, which means I get to stop and drink a load of water. Look at that, colour drenching. Walking along the sand here feels a little bit like Arrakis. Fear is the mind killer. When the fear is gone, only I will remain. Cue the wailing. Ah, slow tap, my nemesis. Don't worry, I'm one step ahead of it this time. I've scheduled extra time today, just so I can battle this. Come on. Hand hurts. It's so good. I don't know whether it's the anticipation that makes it I don't know whether it's the anticipation that makes it taste better, but in my opinion, this is potentially the best drinking water on the island. Oh, gorgeous. So I met a lady in Seaview called Judith who told me that there is a second Apley Tower just in there, but it doesn't have a door for some reason. It's super weird. If you know why that might be, put it in the comments below. We're just coming into Ryde now, and the weather is starting to change pretty dramatically. We aren't really due rain until this evening, so I'd sort of hope to be where I was camping by then. So, quick side mission. I think we're going to go into town, hit up a charity shop and see if I can get a little waterproof jacket for hopefully under a tenner. You ready? Success! So this is the Surfanic Tech Apparel Supply Company Technical Performance Waterproof Breathable Technology Medium 5K 5K. So now you know. Oh no. No. No, 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 no. It's got blooming neoprene fingerless glove inserts. I can't wear this, man. What's that zip even for? And oh, it's got a hood. That's actually not bad. That's not bad. These have to go though. The colour of this is making me feel sick, but it should keep the rain out. I'm going to wear it until my partner can come and drop me out my actual jacket. And then I shall be donating this back to the charity shop. Hideous. If they don't give me a job on Countryfile now, then little did I know, that £10 coat was going to be the best decision I made all trip. I cannot tell you how happy I am to be out of town. It's when you're doing these things and you've got like, you know, all kit and tripods and stuff, you stick out like a sore thumb, just being stared at walking along. So, it is nice to be back out here and on our way to Quarr Abbey. Remember, if you're enjoying this adventure, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. And if you want to support the channel and keep me out there doing silly stuff like this, then you can get yourself one of these limited edition going round t-shirts. Pretty cool. It's such a beautiful stretch up out of Ryde and then into Quarr Abbey. It's a little pocket of peacefulness in quite a busy part of the island. It's a beautiful walk up here to Quarr Abbey, but the best bit is the piggies. Oh, hey pig. These guys get all the scraps from the monastery kitchens. Not a bad life. Piggy! I've got nothing for you. I'm probably hungrier than you are. See you later, mate. So looking at the sky rather than the weather app, it looks as though we might be in for a little bit of wet weather at some point. So I found this absolutely hideous ski jacket that says that it's waterproof for a tenner. You can't lose. It's so vibrant though, the colour of it is giving me a little bit of a headache. But it will keep me dry in an emergency, and that is the main thing. Because I am going to complete this time around. There is no stopping me. I just sat here on that bench for a minute because this was the point where it went really quite badly for me last time. I can't even walk straight, man. I'm dead. When I'd exhausted myself and I was drifting in and out of sleep, it was walking down this pathway here. And that was one of the hardest things to watch back. It was terrifying. For many different reasons, to see myself in that state, to, I don't know, the frustration at myself that I'd let myself get into that state as well. Yeah, so it is nice to be back here on a breezy spring day and heal all of that tension. I do hope the rain holds off though, because the collar on that ski jacket makes me look like a Technicolor vampire. Not a good look. With the clouds overhead slowly getting thicker, I headed into one of the most challenging parts of the coastal path. I'd spent most of the day walking on tarmac, and whilst it's flat, after a while your feet begin to suffer. Past Wootton Creek, the path becomes a labyrinth of cul-de-sacs and back alleys, then heads inland and spits you out onto a busy road with no pavement for a couple of miles of steep hills and dodging traffic. We get into that bit of the coastal path which people always complain about. Here at Wootton it goes all the way around the houses, and in order to get over to East Cowes it sort of diverts down the main road. So there's a huge part of the walk there that isn't really coastal path, and I'm not looking forward to it. Now it's the part that I didn't want to do at 3 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't even walk straight, and you'll probably be able to see why. Whoa, look at the crazy cladding on that. I love that. I mean, if you like walking up the sides of roads with traffic passing you, then you're gonna love this bit, man. If that's your thing. I cannot wait for it to be over. But as I reached the next town and the pavement reappeared, I had another problem to worry about. The rain's really starting to come in now. My feet ache so bad. The jacket's on. Oh my goodness, look at it, man. Look at that. I'll be thankful of it later though, I reckon. Ugh. Things can only get better, right? I should really learn to stop saying things like that. Yeah, so walking up them roads with no pavements wouldn't have been good last time in the middle of the night. And I was sort of drifting in and out of sleep. I don't think I would have made it. This bit isn't very pleasant either, but we are nearly at the chain ferry. Then drizzle turned into sideways rain. Oh, I am soaked. Coming up to the entrance of Osborne House now. Oh, look at that. Why do you choose to do this with your time? And at this point, I'd started to question why I was even doing this in the first place. I'm going to get into East Cowes and I'm going to buy myself a big bottle of water because I am parched. I don't know when the next ferry is over to West Cowes, but I'd rather rehydrate. This is dripping wet. I'd made it to the chain ferry in good time, but a mixture of hunger and low mood had meant that I hadn't enjoyed the last few miles. Although I was grateful to be momentarily out of the wind and the rain, I was really struggling to think straight. So I rehydrated and tried to figure out what I was going to do next. With the afternoon wearing on and the weather closing in, I had a decision to make. Should I carry on? Or should I find somewhere to sleep? Cheers, have a good evening. You too. That man was not happy. Jesus wept. How dare you talk like that? I wonder what they said. I ache so much. It is unbelievable. Feet are okay, legs are okay. It's my shoulders, man. The straps on this bag are a bit too thin, I think. We can do a bit of pain. Pain's all right. I don't mind it. But it is looking incredibly murky right now. And I overheard a bloke on the floating bridge on the chain ferry say that it was going to be single figures tomorrow. It's going to be a really cold wind tomorrow and I'm going to be walking straight into it. Fun. I need to get some proper rest tonight. Look at this weather, man. We're meant to be getting rain coming in, like proper rain, at about 6 p.m. So I've made it to Cowes, and I am sort of taking shelter for a little bit to then assess what I'm going to do next. I had intended on potentially sleeping here. However, tomorrow the weather really turns nasty. So I sort of want to carry on a little bit into the night tonight. There's that thing eating away inside me. But then by the same token, I should probably just sit here and fish, because it doesn't matter if I exhaust myself tonight and get a little bit further. If I don't have anything to eat in the morning, then I'm screwed. But talking of which, when I got to East Cowes, I went into Waitrose and bought this. Do you remember that water bottle that we didn't pick up this morning? Yeah, I didn't find anything over the course of the day that was a good substitute for it. So what I'm gonna do is fill up my existing water bottle with this, drink the other litre of it, and tomorrow I'm gonna turn it into a shrimp trap, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. Things that could be an issue this evening. Sleeping bag zip broke, sleeping bag slightly damp. Not sure if bivvy bag is fit for purpose. It's not the one that I usually take. And yes, I'm a man with multiple Gore-Tex bivvy bags. And then most importantly, not being able to find anything for dinner. I'm going to bed hungry again. I've got seaweed and the remainders of the leaves that I've foraged along the way. Today, as I've been walking along, I've been gorging myself on hawthorn leaves, on stinging nettles, on basically anything that I could grab as I was walking along, and just stuffing them in my mouth. It's very difficult to film it, especially when it's raining. So I've been eating consistently throughout the day, but it's just not enough. And I'm well aware that today's food is tomorrow's energy. But now that I've dried off a little bit, I am having a really good time. Just thinking back to this morning, breakfast on a secluded bay that I'd caught myself, the sun glinting off the water. Those are the things memories are made of. I'm gonna sit here and see whether this rain develops. If it does, then I'm gonna sit tight and then make a decision. But by then it will be dark. That's just something I'm gonna have to live with. Mesmerising. The wind on the water. The ferry struggling to dock. Apart from a little bit this morning on the beach, all of today has been on tarmac. But I am looking forward to, more than anything else, tomorrow morning when I wake up and I head west, out into the relative wilderness of the West Wight, with this marshland and woodland and high dramatic cliff tops. It's going to be a good day.
Next week on Going Round.
Peace, family and food. Those three things, man. Oh, hello. It's just never ending. No. Walking myself into starvation. I'm not quite ready to go home yet. The road goes ever on and on. Right, think. Right, I'm gonna have to call it. This rain seems to be worse than expected, and everything's a little bit damp, even in here. It's like that fine mist rain. It's really getting on everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and stay with a family friend this evening and hit the trail first thing tomorrow morning. So at least then I can get a good night's sleep. So, my name is Joseph, this is Field Study, and until next week, take care. And don't do silly stuff like this.
If you enjoyed that, give it a thumbs up. You can watch the previous series by hitting this playlist. And hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Take care.